Welcome to Voice of the Nation. In 1932, during the reign of King Rama VII, this country transitioned from a monarchy to a democracy. This year marks 90 years of Thailand's democracy, but what kind of democracy? Joining Voice of the Nation today are two guests from relative new political parties, but their views are quite remarkable. Kun Woranai Wanitchaka, leader of the Thai United Party, and Kun Pitipong Temcharoen, leader of the Fair Party.
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ Thanks for joining us. I really love to talk to new parties and the new generations because I want to learn from them. But first of all, I'd like you to let me know about your title of the party, like Kun Waranai first. In Thai, it say Pak Rom Thai United, and in English, it's Thai United Party. Is anything related to football?
It's very much related to football. A lot of our members and quite a few of the fathers are big fans of football, and we figure that the problem with Thailand has always been division that has always been exploited by people in power. Using the people to fight against each other so that they themselves can keep power. So what we should do is to unite. And when we say unite, why not united? Because we Thai people love football. It doesn't matter if you are, forgive me for saying this, Slim, Samuel, red, yellow, whatever. We all love football. We all cheer for either Manchester, Liverpool, or whoever. We're just differing in the team we cheer for. So why not Ruam Thai United? It makes sense. And also, if I may add, it also exemplifies how we work and how we would like to work as the government of Thailand one day, meaning that we don't believe in the Superman superhero theory of politics. We believe that in order to get things done and to get things done right, it requires teamwork. And like a football team, it takes teamwork, right? Ronaldo, Messi, they may be the greatest in the world, but they cannot play by just one person. If they play by just one person, three of us can make a team and we can beat them, right?
I see.
It takes 11 people. It takes a coach. It takes a manager. It takes water boys. It takes the fans. It takes everybody together to become Ruam Thai United to finally move this country forward.
Wow, this is quite fascinating explanation, and this is Kun Go นะครับ and for me, I've been noticing because other parties using the name Thai and Thai and Thai and Thai, Thai for this, Thai for that, and so people get confused. Another party is the Fair Party. Kun Dui ครับ Can you explain the name? Where did you get it? The Fair Party.
Well, first of all, I like to thank you, Kun Yod, to let me join your interview. Fair Party is come from the wording of fair, F-A-I-R, fair. We need to talk, we need to think about fair in the democracy. Fair is mean F-A-I-R. Fair, so F is mean friend and family.
I see.
A is mean ability and aim. I is mean innovation and information. And R is mean responsibility and respect. For the whole meaning of the name is mean that we consider that this is the party who love people, the members, like a family. We join as a friend together. No one has above the supreme and anything. Everyone is a friend and family. And we aim to talk, to work, to do the democracy in the ability to do. It means that if we speak, if we have policy, it means we must do what we just promise the people, the policy, by information, the full information, and by innovation, not in the normal way, innovation way.
It's a new
And
way, right?
the last one is responsibility. for what we think, what we perceive the party. This is responsibility. With respectful, it means we still think about seniority. We think about the whole system of the Thai society, Thai culture. This is the meaning of the FAIR. The second thing for fair party is when we go to the world, the party of the world, everyone will understand that this is the fair party. We don't need to explain what the fair means because people all around the world will know that we talk about fair. You understand, right? If you are the Thai language or anything, yes. If you have you need to explain the meaning of the Thai name party, right?
Okay.
It means Thai. What does it mean? The foreigner will not know what does it mean, but in Thai we know. When we go to I go to the foreign country. When I talk about that I am the leader of fair party, the foreigner, oh, I see. So you think and you have policy about fair policy? Yes, fair policy, something like this. This is the yes.
Yeah, the meaning of your party,
yes.
the title.
Yes.
And I can see your standpoint. We can talk more about this later on, but because of today we talk about the democracy of Thailand. This year is 90 years. So I like to have your viewpoint about what kind of democracy, in your opinion, could go.
Well, it has been roughly 90 years since the revolution in 1932, and in between 1932 and today, we have had about 21 coups d'etats, 14 of which were successful. But put together 21, it means that we average one coup d'etat every between 4 to 5 years. So again, to use the football analogy, we almost have the coup d'etat as often as the World Cup finals. So what does that mean? And the prime minister we have currently was the person who instigated the last coup d'etat and ruled as a dictator for 5 years and continued to rule under the 250 senator system to this day. So 90 years of Thai history, ever since 1932, when we were supposed to become a democracy. What have we learned? I think if we look at the fact, the sum of it, the result of it, is that we have learned very little. And we have done very little. In fact, we keep moving backward and backward. Now, if we were to draw a comparison to other similar countries, during the Cold War, dictatorships in third world countries was a normal thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it was a normal thing. We were all pawns between the superpowers of the US and USSR, right? So Taiwan was a dictatorship. South Korea was a dictatorship. And when the Cold War ended, the Berlin Wall came down in 1988-89, the world evolved. Countries that were ruled by dictatorship under the American influence progressed to become democracy. And so did Thailand. General Burm stepped down. We had one of our first democratic elections in the history of the country, and within a year we had a coup d'etat. Right? So it didn't take long. Whereas in South Korea, in Taiwan, they continue to progress as democratic countries. And now what are they? They are imperfect, they have flaws, but they are developed democracy with a prosperous economies. Prosperous countries. Right. And look at where we are now, right? After the Berlin Wall came down, we had 3 coups d'etats. And today, what are we? A fractional democracy with an economy that is struggling. Not because of COVID-19, it has been struggling long before that. So we see the different progress between 3 countries that came from very similar background. And therefore, I would say South Korea and Taiwan, for example, have learned a lot from their history and have learned a lot from democracy. Whereas in Thailand, we have learned little and we have been repeating the same mistake over
Mhm.
and over and over again.
Mhm. Do you think even though we are being like backward in the democracy and we're not like making any progress in your view, you think that our people are, I mean, stronger, more intelligent, and also working better toward the better future, or because we still in the same regime like this, it's nothing much we can do? What do you think?
Well, when we talk about people, we have to define the people, right? Thailand has a population of about 66, 67 million. Obviously, not everyone is the same. Obviously, not everyone thinks the same or want the same. But we also have to understand that politics is an expression of culture. Everything we do is an expression of culture for every society. So in Thailand, we have this ideal that we call democracy. But we also have the Thai culture, which doesn't necessarily fit. Why doesn't it fit? This is nothing strange or unbelievable. Every culture in this world used to be very similar, feudalistic, highly centralized, a big and whole pyramid. The lords and barons upstairs, the servants and butlers downstairs. If you are a fan of Downton Abbey, you see that England was like this just 100 years ago. But in order for the culture to be fit with democratic ideals, the culture has to evolve. There has to be the values of equality and fairness, like the Fair Party. Such things has to be an integral part of the culture so that we can embrace democracy. Unfortunately, in Thailand, that still is not the case. Our culture, traditionally, and still very popular nowadays, is based on the concept of Pu Yai and Pu Noi. So already there is inequality.
I see.
Our culture is based on Grain Jai and being considerate. Things you cannot say, things you cannot do. But in a democracy, you cannot be too Grain Jai. You have to speak your mind. You have to do what you believe in. Right? And this led to certain laws in which a lot of people in the population support. Laws that aim to keep the people shut up. So there are many things that the culture needs to evolve in order to be fit with democracy, which did not happen because for the past 20 years, we have been stuck in one coup d'etat after another. So where we are at, if the question is, are the Thai people more receptive to democracy? I would not say more intelligent or not, because I think that's insulting to certain people. I would just say more receptive. Obviously, we see the young people out there in the street for the past 2 years protesting. We see a lot of people expressing their opinions on social media. We see a lot of changes in society from the younger generation, the Alpha, the Millennial, the Generation Y, and also a lot of people from the Generation X, like me. So that is happening. Society is becoming more open-minded because we grew up in a social media world. We have the entire world at the palm of our hand. We can learn everything. We can see everything. We have friends from countries we have never been to, and we can see their daily lives. Even nowadays, you can go on TikTok and you can see people in Nigeria doing things. Right? We live in a different world. So we are more open to democracy and cultural evolution. Whereas some of the Generation X and also baby boomers are not so open-minded. It's not because they are less intelligent. It's simply because they grew up in a different world. A world where we get up in the morning and get the newspaper. A world where when we want to find out something, we have to go to the library, look through the card catalog, find the card, and go find a book from the shelf, and come to the librarian and check it out from the librarian, and in 3 days we have to bring it back, otherwise we will be fined. A world where we wish we had 4 TV channels, channel 3, channel 5, 7, 9.
And they belong to the military?
Exactly. A couple of them belong to the military. So it's 2 different worlds.
I see.
The problem at the moment, in the present time, is simply one group of people want to march forward. Another group of people say, hey, wait a minute, we don't want to go that way. So what do? That's why, and now it's time for me to do a little bit campaigning for the party.
Yeah.
That's why.
Okay, I asked that.
I'm an
I
honest
asked that in the
politician.
second part. Okay.
That's
Let-
why one of the main stances of Thai United is this. We believe in moving forward. Society must move forward. But we do not believe in leaving the past behind. I don't want to leave my parents behind. I'm sure no one wants to leave their parents behind. So we must go together. The question then is how? How do we bridge the gap? How do we reconcile this gap?
We will ask more about how in the next session a little bit. So because now I like to hear from Kun Dui's take on your idea, and you'll see the democracy 90 years, and the next 10 years we're gonna hit 100 years of democracy. And Kun Go said, "Oh, we are moving backward." Right. Many people said that. And how about you, Kun Dui? Your view on this one?
Well, based on the Thai history of democracy, I like to think. I like to summarize that we have coup d'etat 13 times, and the other one is politics by the how do I say, the businessman, the investor is not for Thai. I mean the rest of the all democracy in 90 years. It comes from two ways. One way is from coup d'etat. Another way is from the investor. It's not for Thai people. What I think is that for the military 13 times, Thai democracy has been cut off, has been killed. The longest year for the democracy grown up was only 18 years. It means that Thai democracy never go up. When we go up 18 years, the military cut out. So Thai people, Thai country never had their own democracy. Even Ajahn Pidi and Rama VII has already give us the good heritage for democracy to control, to have the right to control govern the country, right? But on the part of 90 years, the democracy never come to people's hand like the Thai Constitution said in the number 3 article. It said that democracy comes for people. Every Thai Constitution law has said this all the time, but the Thai democracy never on their hand unless we have election. We have. I always say that we have a Thai proverb that when you escape from the tiger, you will see the crocodile. Crocodile. It means that when you hate military control, you will see the investor. When you hate the investor, you will see military again. So, what is the Thai power? Why is the Thai power? We don't have. This is the 90 the whole time of period of 90 years. So this year is the year of 90. I always say that we get used to 90 years of Thai democracy. But now we should think about 10 years later on. We will have celebrate. We will need to celebrate 100 years of Thai democracy.
With what?
With what? With what? What is the rate? We are, you and I are almost 55 something. You get used to the democracy in that Thai way. So in the next 10 years, what should we think about the next Thai future? Political and democracy, Thai culture. You want to be as the same as we have past 90 years, or you want to change to the new thing? And I think that this year, when we have this election, there will be disruptive democracy. There will be disruptive political, like the other business and the culture already disrupt. We go to this digital. We go to globalization, something like this. So Thai politics must be changed. Must be changed.
Right.
In this election, absolutely. Kun Ko said about move forward. I think because move forward party had this before, and this is the sign of the new generation, of the new idea to change the past. Even though the Thai Move Forward Party is already gone by the law something, but the ideology is still going. Thai concept, the new Thai, the new Thai kid and anything, young generation, I should say like this, young generation think and control, want to change their future, something like this.
Let me ask you this from Go point of view too. So you talk about the Move Forward Party, and also the Move Forward Party did something like to bring up the voice of the young generation. So it seems that your party is also picking this up from these two. I mean, they continue the same.
Absolutely. I think our party, fair party, recognize the voice of young generation and the voice of the people who does not have chance, just like the worker, just like the labor, and everyone, people who have survived by day. Politics need to recognize the whole thing of this society, because this is the basis of the bottom of the triangle, right? If we do not recognize and we leave them all abandoned people, this status, it means this will be the problem for the next 10 years, for the next future. That's why we have a fair policy to move up this level of people.
ครับ thank ครับคุณดุยครับคุณโก้ครับ how do you work with young generation, because we talk about this we are in the generation X, and also you mentioned about the other generations, and kun Dui also talk about picking up from what Thai Forward Party did before to bring up the voice of the young generations. How about your party? What's your policy, and how did you work with how do you work with your young generation?
For the first part of your question, how do I work with the young generation, right?
Right.
Well, basically this I'm 48 and I'm one of the oldest people in the party. Everybody else is in their 20s.
No way, really?
So how do I work with the young generation? I'm working with the young generation, and it's very important to work with the young generation. A lot of what we do, a lot of our policies, a lot of our campaigns, it's the young generation who help to design it. So every day we are working with the young generation, and every output of Woranai United is a combination, a hybrid of young innovation, young ingenuity, and young energy to combine with older experience, older knowledge, order, stability.
Let me ask you this. Because are you 48? Okay, I'm 50 something. Okay, it's always been seeing like this in the past before the COVID. The clash between the ideas, and we look at the young generation, like my generation, look at the younger generation, they're protesting and doing that. As you are in the same generation, the older generation, if you have to talk to your friends who not really into the younger people going on the street and doing this, that, three ยก3 นิ้ว like this, how do you tell them, like over the dining table, how do you explain to this, because you're working with the young generation and you're in the politics?
Well, I'm assuming we have a lot of similar experiences at dinner table in which we argue with our friends over politics, right? And well, let me I want to tell you very honestly, it's very difficult to change the hearts and minds of someone who believes in a certain things for their entire life. So the aim is not to change their mind by having a conversation. A conversation would never change anyone's mind. What would change people's mind is reality. Now, for example, right, before the last election, I would sit at the dinner table and have a big argument with a lot of my friends about the future of Thailand. That's before the last election. Even a few days or a few months after the last election, we would still have the same argument. But today, the argument changes a little bit because you cannot defeat facts. The facts of Thailand falling apart under the regime, under the concept, under the attitude, under everything that means the old way, under Prayut Chan-o-cha and the others. And it's not General Prayut. General Prayut is just one man. It's a system, it's the mentality. And in my personal experience of late, a lot of my friends who are highly conservatives are seeing that more and more because you cannot hide from the facts. Now, this is not to say that they support the kids in the street. They wouldn't go that far. But this is to say that they support reform. They support something new. They want something different. The problem is that for the past, we have been stuck with the same equation. Sick of Prayut, but hate Thaksin, and also afraid of Thanathorn. And that's it. That has been Thai politics, summed up in 3 little sentences. So we have to unstuck ourselves from this combination. And I'm not saying Kun Prayut, Kun Thaksin, or Kun Thanathorn are in any way good or bad. That's up for the people to decide. But that's the equation that we are stuck with. And that is one reason why we see a lot of new parties coming up. Because politicians are trying to find a way to answer this call for something different that is not in that equation. That's why there's Woranai United. That's why there's Fair Party. And also that is why there's Kla Party. สร้างอนาคตไทย Party, Thai สร้าง Thai Party. Everyone tries to figure out a different equation to offer the Thai people. Now, who has the right equation, who has the wrong equation, we will see. The election is the measurement of us all. So a lot of things have to happen to change the minds of the people. But the first thing, the most important thing has already happened, which is a lot of the conservatives, even in the elite class, are looking around and they are saying to themselves, can I curse on this show? And then, okay, I want.
Do it.
And say, this just doesn't work anymore. It doesn't. And we're just going to regress and regress and regress if we keep doing the same thing over and over and over. And what is the definition of insanity? The definition of insanity is to repeat the same mistake over and over and over again.
So from your group of friends who are, that you mentioned, conservatives, and when you talk with them to see the fact, and just like this time of recently, right? You see the change, the tendency that they see that something must be changed now, instead of like before the COVID time that we have a lot of protest on the street, and we have a lot of strong opinion from the conservative with against what's going on. And now you see the change. Is it the change is quite stable, or it's just like is it coming like in that still some doubt, or do you think that we can move forward from this time now that we stop thinking about that? Is it Thailand? Should Thailand be changed or not? What do you think about this? It's like we from now we don't talk about should we or should not. It's just like we have to. What do you think about this, Miko?
Change is a very scary thing, and it's scary for everybody, right? Change means uncertainty, things that we don't know, things that we have never done. So it's very scary. And for the older generation, it's even more scary. Hey, I'm 48. I'm a little bit afraid. I'm not 28.
They must understand this generation as well.
When I was 18, anything goes. 28, anything goes. Even 38, anything goes. I'm 48. I'm a little bit more fearful. That's just the fact of life. It's just a fact of being human, right? Change is fearful. So it has to get to the point when you cannot deny that change must happen, and change is happening. Both you gentlemen may have seen the Dove commercial over the past couple of days, right? Dove, big soap brand, an international brand, by Unilever, a huge multinational company with a strong presence in Thailand. Now, obviously, one of the last people that will do something controversial, scandalous towards change would be big capitalists, because they have a lot of investment in a society in which the government and political power has a lot of say in your investment. But a couple of days ago, the new Dove commercial comes out, and they target the haircut policies in school, and they support young girls, young students expressing themselves. They were against the haircut rule, and they show young girls with different haircut, colorful hair dye, and an expert talking about how forcing students to have a haircut, no matter what their haircut looks like, is dictatorship. It suppresses, it oppresses the young people. It affects them badly. But while you let them liberate themselves and express themselves, it's good for their soul. It's good for their mind. It's good for their spirit. It's good for everything. And that comes from a huge capitalist in Thailand. Now, if it's just the poor people in the street, that's one thing. If it's just young people in the street, that's one thing. But if you get the rich, the capitalists, the powerful, the elites to support change, that's a different ball game. And that's why, in my personal assessment, over the past 2 years, Thailand has changed a lot more than over the past 20 years. It's coming fast. It's coming quick. And to a lot of people, they are afraid. But to a lot of people, they embrace it. They want to push it forward.
That making me thinking about the nation should interview these people more, the elite, the powerful, and the rich. Okay, let me move to Kun Dui a little bit. Kun Dui, you are in my generation as well. You have kids, and I have heard that your kids not coming to Thailand to work. They want to live abroad. And how do you communicate with them, with the changing the politics scene, and you also political family already? How do you communicate with them, your kids? They are 20s?
Actually, I have 3 kids. The first one now, she works at the Bank of America as a consulting investor over there.
How old is she? That's one.
Now she is, I guess, 26.
I see.
25, 26 something.
I see.
All right, and her birthday soon, in next month. Because her birthday is always change the figure of her age. The second one is now she study in the U.S. Pennsylvania, and the third one is Berkeley. Is going to study in this August. I treat it.
So they're in 26, 22, 21 something, right?
Yeah, right. The last one is 18.
18.
The third one.
How do you explain Thai politics, or what you are doing now? Because they seem they don't believe in Thailand anymore, so they want to live abroad or something.
Actually, for all of them, upon the politics family, they know about the situation in Thailand. They love Thailand. They love Thai food. They love Thai way. But for the future, they have chance to choose their own life, and they think that Thai is not appropriate for them to grow up.
What did they
like
say? What did they say when they say the same
Because,
generation doing something they
no. Actually, because I put them study in the international school.
I see.
So it means that their idea is not for Thai. Their idea is the whole world. The whole world. They can go anywhere. They can work anywhere. They can survive in any way. Anywhere.
That's called the global citizen mindset.
Global citizen, right?
I see.
Yes.
I see.
And the other thing that you ask, I act like brother, not father. When they consult, when the new generation think I am a brother, we advise, we talk, we discuss.
This is the way how you raise.
This is the way I do in the new generation. Everywhere, the same thing. Thai Fair Party also do the same thing. We act like we are the brother. We act like you are family. We protect each other. We listen. We listen and we understand. Sometimes they have misunderstood. They have mistake. We go through and solve the problem together. We do not dictate. We do not shut up them. Let them think. Let them do what they want. And if they do in the good way, okay, we help as a family. But then if they have a problem, just like today, you will see that a lot of teenagers got arrested from the law because the government tried to dictate them. This is the way I against. I absolutely against this. When I have time, Thai policy, I think that this should be accused of. In no matter what, any accuse. Because we need to listen them, not to shut them up.
I see.
This is the way. And the other thing is, if the teenager or every Thai people escape, the escape go to foreign country, go abroad, because they think that our jurisdiction is not fair for them. This is the way. Also, Thai for our policy also, we will call them back to fight against the justice in the own justice way, in the fair way, not dictate, not by law, not anything. This is the second thing. The last thing for the Thai teenager, besides we accept them now, besides we accept them, we listen and try to help them, to support them, not shut them up.
I see.
This is the way.
This is how you apply this into the practice of your political party as well, not for your personal thing. I see. Okay.
Yes,
let me ask you go about this. Well, when you work with the younger generation, and it seems they don't understand. You talk about the culture. We have good culture and culture that need to be altered or changed. How about the thing like seniority that you mentioned, and also the เกรงใจ thing? How do you explain? Did you want them to accept it, or you want a new meaning for them? You just want this to eradicate it? Just do not talk about this with the young generation at all. So how you manage this?
Well, first of all, obviously, from seeing me talking for this past 30 minutes, I think everyone can obviously see that I'm not very traditional in any which way, shape, or form.
Right.
So in how I interact with the younger people, I try to be as democratic as possible. But democracy always have to end with one person making a decision. That's called responsibility and accountability.
Mm.
So you got to have a team leader, you got to have a political party leader, so on and so forth. But you need to create a culture and atmosphere to let everyone understand and appreciate that you can speak, you can disagree, you can voice your opinion. And that's the culture that we are creating in Rome Thai United Party, because if one day we become government and we want to create that culture for Thailand, it starts with us. It's not just words, it's not just rhetorics, it's what we do and who we are. So I think it's very important to create that work culture in which there is no censorship. We can exchange ideas. Just because I am 48 and you are 32, just because I am the party leader and you are staff, it doesn't mean that you have to shut up in front of my presence. It doesn't mean that you can't argue with me. It doesn't mean that you cannot share your ideas. And I also get this from teaching. I've been teaching at Thammasat for over 10 years. And every semester, the first class, I always tell my students, please question me. Please speak up. If you don't ever speak up, if you don't ever question me, then maybe I'll just lie to you. And you just take it.
It's a good one.
Well, I think that happens a lot with the Thai government and the Thai people. So question me. Try to prove me wrong. If you can prove me wrong, I'll give you an A. So democracy is a word that everyone uses. It's a rhetoric. Even Kun Prayut, Kun Pravit, and everyone else, they use the word. But it doesn't mean anything if it does not come from here. And it doesn't mean anything if here does not truly understand what it is. There is still a lot of lessons for the Thai society, and especially politicians, to learn about what democracy is. If you can embrace it and you practice it in your own party, in yourself, then you are qualified to become a democratic leader of a nation. If you don't believe in it, if you don't even practice it in your own work, in your own family, then hey, you know what? Democracy is just a word that you say, but everything that you do is dictatorship.
I see. Let me ask you this too, Kun Go. We in the real situation, for example, is like if you are part of the government, and also it's time to vote, and it happens all the time that sometimes members disagree in something, but the party should work with other parties, so we have to agree with something we disagree, and then your party is one of the government, and then how do you gonna manage this if your members disagree with something, but you as a leader have to move into this direction to agree with the law that your members most of them not agreeing?
I think reason for agreeing and disagreeing is very important. I think if the party stance for me is to agree with a certain legislation, and the rest of the party members who are in parliament agree with it simply because the party leader says so, I don't want that.
Oh, right. Really?
That makes me a dictator within my own party. That makes the MPs from Rome Thai United no brain, no heart, just follow the shepherd. They are just sheep. That doesn't do any good for the Thai democracy. So whether they agree or disagree, I want it to be from their own personal belief and personal ideology. And that is why, and that is the problem in Thai politics. You have these political, I don't call parties, I call factions. And it's a collection of various individuals with different motivations.
Would it be looking like that your party not in harmony?
A party not in harmony. I think a party would be in harmony if the people in the party agree on the core values. That's very important. You have got to have core values, and the people in your party have to embrace these core values. And that's how you evolve politically. That's how political institutions evolve values. And if you agree in the core values, then your actions, whether in parliament or anywhere else, whether regarding legislations or anything else, are most likely to be in the same direction. because you agree in that same values. There might be one or two people who disagree, and they are free to disagree because, like I said, if we're going to do democracy, we got to do democracy. Core values. The problem with political factions in Thailand is that mostly there are no core values. There are only core shared interests.
I see.
And so when you have only so much cake to share, there would obviously be disagreement in certain legislations because there are no core values. So I do not foresee any problem for Thai United because we come together because we believe in something.
I see. Okay. Let me hear from Kun Dui on this similar topic about leadership. Because I have heard your party is trying not to set up like outstanding leaders that can draw people to come together. And this seems to be, it's always been like that in the Thai political parties, that we need a very strong leader so that people can listen and come together. So how do you manage this leadership system in your party?
First of all, this is a fair party. We need to have fair management. We need to have fair management. What I say is that I need to recognize the minority. I need to recognize the majority also. Everything, when you have a problem, when we have problem that majority and minority against each other, we need to have consensus. Consensus, not voting. It means that if we have consensus already, it means everyone must agree. There is no I will provide the idea, the system that everyone can talk, can explain what the idea, what everything, and until the time ends. We need to have consensus, not voting.
How do you get consensus? How do you get it?
Consensus is mean that everyone must explain their own reason. Everyone, and then after the time, when the time is done, we need to have consensus. I will not vote. Consensus needs to be done.
So
because if we voting, it means when the loser, there will be have a loser, there will have a winner.
Right.
This is not the way.
And how consensus coming from? How did you get the consensus at the end of the meeting?
Yes, at the end of the meeting.
Yeah, how did you get it?
It means that I say that this is, when about the policy, this policy, I give you explain. This policy, okay, I explain easily. The name of the party, Fair Party. Fair Party is come from the board of the member. We have 3 names chosen: พักดี มั่นคง and fair and เป็นธรรม Everyone throw their idea. We need to have พักดี we need to have มั่นคง we need to have เป็นธรรม and then when the time comes, เป็นธรรม one election, one voice, one voter. Unless, otherwise we will have the other name. This is the way, and this and I also say I say this all the time, that when we have vote, when we have consensus, everything must be stopped.
So how did Pentam finally get accepted as the name of the party? Because it's only one word.
Yeah, because everyone agree that this is the way to do, and when we ask about not I do not have I do not need make a decision. Everyone throw that who choose เป็นธรรม who choose มั่นคง who choose what the พรรคดี choose, and then we control and we count together, not choose one. You understand, right?
The consensus
one of the 3, and which one is the best, for the whole. You set priority. You set everything. It means otherwise, the loser will not like. Will not like if they cannot against the majority.
I see. Okay.
This is the
Thanks,
consensus.
I think.
And the other thing is when I go to the outside the party, it needs to be fair also. When you ask about your last question, I will do the same thing. Even the law or any topic that go to the party, we do not vote. We need to have consensus, and we need to agree that this is the consensus. No loser, no winner, no. Because I cannot choose. I need to be fair. Otherwise, everyone will say that the leader would not be fair for them. I cannot be the leadership like that. It means consensus all the time.
I see. Okay. ตั้งครับคุณดุยครับคุณโก้ครับ
Yes.
In the direction some people said, I mean, some years ago, in the end of the day, Thailand should have like at least 2 or 3 major parties. And now, later on, we can see now a lot of more parties coming up, like your party, Thai United Party, and Fair parties. So how do you find yourself fighting or making people see your party because you are a new party? And what the strategy? Right. Kun go first, Kap, and maybe this is the last question for both of you because we're running out of time. So Kun Go, please explain this to me. I like to understand. Instead of you joining the big party because you're quite outstanding person, but you set up you have your own party and getting from like small to go up. Explain this.
Okay, that's a very good point. Why did I not join big parties? What's the point of joining big parties? I think people join big parties for a variety of reasons, right? But the one thing that we cannot argue against is that joining a big party is the quickest way to power. That's why they are the big parties. So why would the both of us form our own parties? Are we crazy? Are we stupid? Do we have nothing else better to do with our lives? Well, the first reason basically is that I truly believe, and we at Woranai truly believe in an alternative voice in Thai politics, an alternative option in Thai politics. Now, being new and being small are two different things. Think back a few years ago, Palang Pracharat was new, but it was not small, right? So, based on this, at least the people can be sure that Woranai United, and I'm also assuming Fair Party, is not backed by any powerful generals. It's not backed by any big capitalist. It's not backed by any powerful godfathers. So already at the starting point, we are starting clean. Because it is my personal opinion that the problem with Thai politics and the reason why we are stuck and cannot evolve, cannot progress, is because behind the factions and behind the parties are these very same people. The generals.
What is the family names?
Well, we shall not name names because Thailand is a highly litigious society and we are already just starting a party. We don't need to end it right away. But the beautiful things about Thailand is we all know what we know. We don't have to say name and we know what we know. And therefore we can have very frank discussion without naming names. I can just name professions, right? The generals.
Because of this, you don't have the big names backing you up, and also you think that will appeal to the people these days that we want to change. So we don't need the big parties with the big name and also like this and that from the old regimes.
I think that's very important because if you truly want to offer a new alternative, you got to do things differently. If we bring in the big name is not just a big name. The big name is also big power. The big name also has big connection. The big name also have big network of people. So what does that mean? It means you fall back into the same type politics of patronage system. Right? Our problem is patronage politics.
Mm.
Everyone is connected, everyone is friends, everyone is
Mm.
brothers and sisters,
Networking.
and therefore nothing can get done. And
Mm.
therefore everyone's main priority is to feed your patronage network. And that's why Thailand is stuck. So we can do the same thing, but the end result is Thailand would receive the same thing.
Mm.
But if we want to do something different, then we have to start from the beginning.
Mm.
It's just me, a few other people,
Mm.
a lot of young people who really want to make change. Now, of course, it's very difficult.
Mm.
It's very difficult to communicate with the public, right? Because
see.
the media, the news, the so on and so forth, if you don't have the big names, nobody cares. If you don't have the big titles, nobody cares. And that's the unfortunate reality of the world in which we live. But that doesn't mean we're gonna veer away from our direction, from our principles and our beliefs. It's a long road. And like I said, our party is full of young people. We have time. We're not going anywhere. A lot of people, they're running out of time. That's why they're doing everything possible, including a lot of other things to stay in power. But we have time. If
I
not,
see.
now that's election end of this year or early next year. If not, there's 4 more years. If not, there are 4 more years. We have time to build something that is worth building. That
And
will
this is the
actually
right time.
change and evolve Thailand. So
I see.
the shortcut, motivated by greediness for power, is not what we want.
Okay.
And
Thanks,
it's not
คุณ
what
โก้
Thailand
ครับ
deserves.
ครับ Maybe we have some last word after this คุณดุยครับ How about
Yes.
you? You a small party. Being small is beautiful, or you think that you have time elsewhere?
This is a very good question and ask and very hard, difficult to answer in clearly. But I like to say that for Thai, for my opinion, and Thai fair party, we are new party. I mean newborn party, newborn. We are not fair party is not reborn or rebrand. You understand, right? What the
Yes, I
definition
understand.
of reborn and rebrand?
Uh-huh.
Rebrand is mean that you are the old party, but you put the new one, the new generation in the conservative way, in the old way. It means reborn. Rebrand. Reborn is mean the old politician set up the new party in a new name, and they announce that this is a new party.
New party.
But
no,
you
it's
still,
not new
you
party.
still,
Right, it's
yeah,
still same old faces of the people.
This, yeah, right. It's been เหล้าเก่าในขวดใหม่นะ in Thai way. It means that you just only name that's new, but the old fashion, the old way of politics is still the same. That's what we say. That's what we see, and we will face in this election also, because those Thai people, Thai voters need to understand the root of the party that you're going to choose. The other thing is that now we do not have representative, Thai representative. We have only Thai election man. Everyone in the government, everyone mostly in the parliament is come from election. Election man. Sometimes he proud to say I have passed 11 election. What does it mean? For me, it's nothing. We have passed 90 years of the party. What does it mean? You just only pass the election. You are not representative for the Thai people. This is the way of Thai fair party will do. We need to have pure Thai representative, not election. This is the second one. The third one is that the way we have the representative is they need to understand the idea of the party. We need to fair. We don't need big name.
I see.
We sell the idea as a policy. We do not sell person. I am only one in the party, not the owner of the party. And this is the way the party should do. It means that we sell our organization, not sell big name, not sell me only. You choose me, you choose Thai, you choose fair party. It means you choose our policy, not choose me.
Okay. Okay,
yes.
I agree. Thank you. Okay, ครับคุณโก้ครับ for the very last moment now. I'd like you to talk to the audience about yourself, about your party for briefly time, maybe that 3 minutes. Not too long. 2 minutes. Okay.
Opportunity to หาเสียง
Right. This is your stage. We want many parties to share their voices. Okay,
I will try to do in 3 minutes. Well, first of all, Thai United itself, our core value is this. The problem with Thailand is อำนาจประจุ concentration of power. And therefore, the way out for Thailand is กระจายอำนาจ decentralized power. For example, our policy is governor election nationwide. Why must Bangkokian have that privilege and 76 provinces do not have that privilege? The power is concentrated in interior ministry. So we have to decentralize that power and give the power to the people in the provinces. That's just one example. We have many policies that is aimed at decentralizing power. And I urge everyone to follow the party or follow me on Facebook, and you can read and you can keep up on what we are doing. But also more importantly, because this is more urgent, in this election we're having right now, Thai United has 19 candidates. That's 19 candidates in the Bangkok parliamentarian election.
Yeah, that's good. I'm
not going to say go vote for them. I'm going to say to you, please give them a chance. These are young, new generation people who teach at colleges, people who run their small businesses, people who come together and believe that changing Thailand starts with changing your Tongtin, your local area, which is the districts in Bangkok. Give them a chance. They are not there to just take the budget and go on a study trip and come back with shopping bags. They are not there to just neuter dogs and spray mosquito repellents. They are not there to kill the budget or to put a percentage of the budget into their pockets. Basically, they are not there to do the same thing that is happening in Bangkok for the past 10, 20, 30, God knows how many years. They are there to bring clean politics, to bring check and balance, to check the government, to check the different district. And also they are there to represent, and their main job is to develop the economy and the environment of each district they are in. They are there to make life better for the people today and for the people in the future. Give them a chance. Thank you. And you may have seen very beautiful posters everywhere.
Thanks both of you for joining us today. I really enjoy our conversation, and I hope we have this moment again in the future soon. Okay, ขอบคุณมากครับครับ
ขอบคุณครับ
สวัสดีครับ ขอบคุณครับ
That's คุณ Woranai Wanitchaka, leader of the Thai United Party, and คุณ Pitipong Temcharoen, party leader from the Fair Party. So thanks for joining us today. It's quite a long conversation than usual, but I think that you will pick up something very useful for you to see the new Thailand in the next 10 years. I'm Vithya Sangarun. สวัสดีครับ